Hi, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Kevin.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Dan.
We're here with our third segment to talk about articles from cmuptm.blogspot.com. The first article in this segment is called "A Call for R/Evolution." Evolution or revolution.
Do you guys get it?
You get it? By Jennifer Edwards on Dance USA. So this was a long-form kind of polemic about the sort of generally about the state of like art in America, the state of performance in America, but specifically dance. And so in this article, she's kind of criticizing the system that makes it really difficult for performers to make a living, but she's also saying that if that system is broken, we just need to like stop bitching about it and just like we're creative people. We need to come up with a creative solution to fix it. And so she kind of identifies three different areas, as she says, of inquiry and potential change. One is the personal, a call for dancer empowerment. The systemic, a call for curricular overhaul. And the third is public relations, a call to stop taking it personally and tell the truth. So she really doesn't let anyone off the hook. She tells educators to make curriculum that's responsive to the state of the market and the world. She tells students to stop bitching and to get creative about their careers and their job prospects. And she tells readers to stop lamenting a time when arts were better funded. So, tour de force. Maybe. Does anybody have anything to say about this article?
It's all good advice. I'm also a little numb to the whole subject because it feels like this comes up every few articles. Just like jobs.
What are we gonna do?
Well,
Yeah.
Right. It's hard to find jobs, and I wish we had more money, but don't complain. Do something about it. Okay. I'm gonna try to do that.
Yeah.
and this article, the author covers their bases. It's a multifaceted issue. It's not the artist's fault. It's not the educator's fault. It's everyone is culpable. But I think everyone's sort of at a loss for more specifics.
Yeah, I mean the thing is like there's no answer.
Yeah.
Like there's no right answer. Like it's like Todd Keedler in the last article that we talked about, the August Wilson article, like he just happened to meet and jive with a creative genius, like one of the most important playwrights of his generation.
Yeah.
And that just happens. And there's no formula or recipe for that, or for like getting your show to tour. It's just like you have to love your work, you have to do it constantly, and do all that work ahead of time so that when the right opportunity comes along, you're ready to take it.
Yeah. I mean, and I do agree with the idea that don't just sit around and lament the fact that things aren't different, because they're not, and here you are. So, maybe don't feel sorry for yourself, but that just seems like obvious just in general.
Right.
In life. Don't do that, go out and try to do. But then the implication that I don't know, when she says, get out there and do something, I guess I would have loved some examples of what that something might be. You know what I mean?
I think she just means get out there and do your work.
Yeah.
Which of course is what are you supposed to go to Central Park and be a
That's
crazy
what I
person? Be a crazy person dancing.
That's
there
what I
are a
mean.
lot of people dancing in Central Park right now. If everybody did that.
Which isn't terrible advice, maybe, some of what she's saying is figure out a fringe festival with the people in the room with you right now. Or go and dance on the street corner. Maybe that is what she's saying. I think that could have been helpful, and maybe she will or has in a separate article. But I think that kind of thing, because maybe it is about that, just no, really, just go do it. There isn't ever going to be some magical time.
Yeah.
We've read about innovators who, we read about the Broad City Girls who were well, we made this podcast web series on YouTube that was kind of funny together because we think we're kind of funny, and it got picked up. That's cool. They just did their thing, and it worked out.
Yeah.
So, that point is well taken, and, I think she's right.
And I think the point that she makes also is important about how there's this perception that you can have other / careers, so you can be a lawyer / journalist or a physician / entrepreneur, are the examples she gives. but that it's looked down upon both by people seeking the careers and people perceiving those people that, like, if you're a dancer / something else, then you must be a failed dancer.
Right.
Yeah.
And like that's like not a healthy mindset on anyone's part. And that, like, you know, everyone needs to embrace the idea that like that's part of the process. It's like working.
Well, and it actually connects directly to this next article, the second article that we have for this segment, which is called "The Reality of Six-Figure Debt on an Actor's Salary." It's by Stephanie O'Connell on Magnifying Money, and it's about Freddie Arsenault. I hope I'm saying his name right. A Broadway actor and a graduate from NYU's MFA acting program who also works as a realist. I'm sorry. So he graduated from NYU Tisch's School for the Arts, and he works as a Broadway actor, but he also works as a real estate agent to supplement his income. And it's a sobering account of his financial situation. He's contributed $800 a month to his $165,000 student loan debt since 2008, but his debt is still $165,000 because of interest.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't even made a dent in it. So, that's
crazy.
really sad. Like, it's really depressing to think that, like, how many actors aspire to be working on Broadway, and like, okay, so you're on Broadway, but you still have $165,000 in debt and have to work as a real estate agent. Like, there's no, like, that doesn't solve things for you.
Yeah.
You know, there are also some interesting statistics in this article. American Theater did a survey and found that 67% of 500 artists, it's unclear whether those are actors or just like theater artists, but 67% of 500 artists surveyed made less than $25,000 per year, if anything. That's like $0 to $25,000 a year from theatrical endeavors in 2013. Something I thought reading this article was like, how does that information square with the study from the first article we read?
The last episode.
Right, where they were talking about how like 70% of people, it's like 70% of art graduates who found work after school are like satisfied in their job. Like, how do these statistics square with those statistics, which seem to paint a very rosy picture of what life after graduation for artists is like?
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, your thing that you just mentioned in the dance article about like allowing yourself like to not feel shame if you're gonna like do a couple of things. I mean, that seems like great advice, you know, because we're multifaceted people with lots of skills, and it's like you might need to make it work with some other stuff you're good at besides theater. But yeah, I mean, and I totally agree about the statistics from that first article where you're like, oh, it's great.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna be employed and I'm gonna love it probably. And then this one where they're like, well.
And it's hard to tell like what's the better mindset to have. Like, is it better to just think like, you know, everything's gonna be fine, everything's gonna work out, and just like believe in that and be positive? Or is it better to like, you know, learn about these sobering realities and be like, oh my god, I need to hustle my ass off? I mean, for me, I've always just assumed that it's gonna be difficult for me to make a living, and I just have to work really hard.
Yeah, and I think it brings us back again to that element of covering all of your bases, where, you know, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. So, you know, don't ignore the struggle that is in your future, and kind of be looking for ways to actually challenge the system and work for like systemic change in the arts, but also, you know, be ready to take a second, like, don't be surprised if you have to take a second job. Like, I think that you have to, there's like a little bit of both that I think you have to maintain.
Well, and that these will be fluid realities in your life. You know, there will be times when, but this is true of any industry, I think, where it's like you might not have the job, your dream job for a while, and you might take something on for a while that is fine for now. I mean, you know, it's just like, that's life.
Yeah.
And I think you shouldn't be surprised if you're throwing some curveballs and if things aren't working out 100% of the time. But this one about the debt and the fact that this guy he's paying hundreds of dollars per month, and only to pay off the interest is crazy.
Yeah.
That seems like illegal. You know? Like, I look at that and I think, like, that's not about mindset. Like, this is
That's a problem.
a specific
That's
problem.
a problem.
Like, that's horrifying. I mean, I was aware of the amount of debt, but I wasn't aware that people take on. I was not aware of,
That you could pay $800 a month,
yes,
which is like twice what a lot of people in Pittsburgh pay in rent.
right,
And if you live in the right neighborhood, and still you don't make any dent in that.
you're throwing money into a hole.
Yeah.
That's,
Just to avoid default.
yeah, I mean, that,
I mean, and
that
there's
was
like
sobering.
income-based repayment, which is dope, but it's also like only applies to federal loans, and like it makes your like the total amount that you're paying in the long term like astronomically higher.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm just banking on the mass default.
That's what
Okay,
Kevin's hoping for.
So on that note, let's wrap this up. Thanks for joining us. We've been reading articles from cmuptm.blogspot.com. Join us next time for more banter. I'm Kevin.
Caitlin.
I don't know why I said that with a
Yeah.
question mark. I'm Kevin.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Dan.
See ya.
Bye.
Oh.